Howdy. I'm going to try and make a video of me reading Grand Theft Boblo, a little novel I wrote a couple years ago, which is still for sale. On Lulu.com, I'll put all kinds of information about it in the description, so you can order it if you'd like. Look up Grand Theft Boblo, B-O-B-L-O, and you'll find it somewhere for sale, probably. Okay, I'm going to do chapters 4 and 5 because they look like they're pretty short. And I hope this handheld camera action works okay, and it's not too buffering. It looks buffering when I'm looking at it. I don't know. We'll see. Chapter 4. Sunday drive with Angie. Here's how a long Sunday afternoon cruise with Angie usually goes. We hit the gas station. Angie pumps because it's a novelty to her. We hit the ATM because we just used the last of my cash and we'll need some more for the nearest drive-thru. Eating out with Angie requires a restaurant with a drive-thru, or if we must go inside, a counter where they'll hand your food over within 5 minutes and let us leave. She's not worried about the food being fast as much as the interaction with people being kept to a minimum. She won't eat inside a restaurant, except maybe once every year or two, if we have friends or relatives around to convince her. Even then, sometimes she'll refuse. You catch her in the wrong state of mind and she'll say, "I'm not hungry, I'll stay in the car and read." Once we were eating inside a Denny's at 4 in the morning, sitting at a booth in an empty section of the restaurant, almost done with our food, when two guys came in and sat in a booth behind us. She lasted about 2 minutes before pulling on her sweatshirt and going outside to wait in the bed of the truck. Not like I need to be in a crowd of people and have them all looking at me either, but I don't mind it once in a while. When we're out for a cruise, I don't mention it. We get our double quarter-pounder combos and park somewhere, preferably in the same parking lot if it's not too full. A parking lot with too many people coming and going can be just as disturbing to her. The potential for a fight starts at the drive-thru window. The potential for a fight starts at the drive-thru window. If they gave her the wrong kind of burger, or if the fries are too old, or if the Coke they gave her is too watered down, then I will hear about it. I am the de facto representative for all food service in southeastern Michigan, as far as Angie's concerned. If we're still near the restaurant, I can take it back and demand our correct order. This will buy me 10 to 30 minutes extra before the fight comes to a full bloom. Apart from the rumbles after the drive-thru, it's really my fault that we argue every time we go cruising. I keep thinking that we're going out to get away from the TV, to do something fun that doesn't cost a lot, basically to spend some time together. I always forget that Angie just wants to see new sights. It's like a meditation to her, which makes me the pestering fly that keeps buzzing around her, disturbing her peace. After 20 minutes on the road, as I become more talkative and Angie becomes more hostile, I realize once again that we're not here to share the moment. She's here to watch houses and trees flash past until they induce a trance. I'm here to steer. Sometimes the process reverses after that. I become quiet, listen to whatever radio stations she's selected. In Excess or the Pixies or Howard Jones comes on. And I stare ahead, letting my subconscious take over the driving. Angie will start talking about how weird the video for this song was. I remind her I never had cable until my roommate in college ordered it, and didn't watch it much then. She continues to describe the video anyway, just in case I might remember it. And because it was such a cool video that she's helpless to stop at this point. We talk like normal people for a while. Phases may repeat themselves as Angie wanders back into a trance, and I point out where a kid I went to school with drove his Mustang off a stone bridge over a little creek. I try to tell how the kid survived the crash, but drowned in 3 feet of water because the car was tipped on the driver's side and he was too drunk to undo his seatbelt. But Angie gets impatient with my rambling because I told her the story before, and now I'm driving silently again, remembering it's not my place to speak to Miss Daisy. By the end of the second or third hour of driving, we get distracted by roads or landmarks we had never seen before and forget why we were mad. We hit the grocery store on the way back, or pick up some paperbacks and pants from a thrift store. As soon as we get home, we unpack the goodies and lay around reading, trying on clothes, making a pot of soup that can simmer all evening. Chapter 5. Bingham's. Commission Charles Schultz to draw a shaky cartoon of me stocking shelves. My mouth is a line turned down at both ends. The caption should read, "Here's the world-famous buccaneer at his day job, putting up the display of freeze-dried chicken Alfredo packets." These are Y2K leftovers. Because the cashier who was supposed to open with him never showed up. At least the day wasn't a total loss because Suzanne came in around 11. She handled customers for most of the morning, leaving me to finish the scheduling and payroll back in the office. Plus the write-up from Martha, the cashier who was scheduled to open. From about 2 till 5, customers meandered through nonstop, so I had to come out and show a homeless guy where our camping equipment was, and looking back for size 13 cross-trainer shoes for some giant teens. Then things quieted down again and we got a chance to talk. While I took down some hanging displays of fishing rods and hung compound bows in their place, Suzanne described the sweet setup she had with the Daltons. That was her code name for the couple who managed the B. Dalton bookstore on the other side of the food court from our store. She spent weekends and a few weeknights with them, mostly enjoying the company of Mrs. Dalton, now and then toying with Mr. They had started out as friends, then became friends with benefits, and settled back into friends again. Never in a million stereotypes would I have guessed that even swinging bondage enthusiasts get bored with sex after a while, or bored with each other. From what I had seen of him around the bookstore, Mr. Dalton came off as a regular guy, maybe a little stiff and reserved, always wore long-sleeve shirts buttoned all the way up to pinch his Adam's apple, but without a tie. He never bugged customers by asking if he could help you find something. He always seemed too dignified to engage in behavior he knew bothered most people. Suzanne explained that he had to wear sleeves all summer, not out of any fashion sense, but because his arms were faintly scarred from shoulder to wrist. They went through a phase with sharps. Hi. Suzanne said his emotional reserve paid off. Apparently holding back feelings so tightly for so long allowed him to attain great heights when he finally released it. Then Mrs. Dalton would make him clean off the spots on the ceiling or high on the walls where he had released it. Something to do with tantric energy, but I never could understand that shit, and Suzanne said it was hard to explain without demonstrating. Suzanne had a nice little package. I could imagine opening her one Christmas morning and playing with her till I broke her. Boy, this is the kind of shit I wrote several years ago. Thank goodness. Other topics that would be better to focus on. Arrows. Dusty fishing rods. Angie allowing my rod to get dusty. How's that rack of jerseys coming? I asked her. Did we order enough? Yeah, somebody put the third box over with the shoes and socks, so I didn't see it the first time I looked. Suzanne hooked the last dozen hangers on the rack and began rearranging them by size. Problem is, it's all Lions and Raiders and Bears jerseys. Not enough variety. We should have got a box of assorted. I said, that's fine. Raiders crap will get bought by gangbangers and wannabes. T-shirts with Tupac and Kurt Cobain and other martyred heroes still sell well, so we'll move those Lions jerseys. You see what I did there? And everybody else around here either comes from Chicago or they're saving up to move to Chicago. I pushed up a ceiling panel and looped a wire through to hang another bow. This one was a 3/4 scale version of all the others, with a wood grain sticker over the fiberglass arms of the bow. The Junior Fred Bear. It had all the pulleys and adjustable knock and sights of the full-size compounds. Get out of the way, cat. There's a cat who's trying to eat some knitting. Sorry. It had all the pulleys and adjustable knock and sights of the full-size compounds. Even had silencers on the string, which is to say tufts of yarn that deaden the twang when you release. And it cost as much as the cheapest full-size compound bow. I tilted it to a jaunty angle so it wasn't hanging straight up and down. Then a hanger hook came off the top of the bow, and I almost fell off the ladder spinning to catch it. What are you doing? Camera, stop! What are you doing? Camera! I'm just kidding. I gripped the sides of the ladder with both hands backing down it, and bumped into Suzanne's ass. She had to poke it out in order to bend under a round clothes rack where some hangers had fallen. Wrong thought is not the same as wrong action, see? And Freud would tell you the same thing, which is why I took a moment to stare at Suzanne's ass, thinking of how a little sliver of her gash would be showing from this angle if she pulled her khakis down, and how her moderate tits would be dangling forward as she reached under the rack. I had no intention of laying a finger on her or asking her to go home with her after work. I'm convinced she'd agree to it, but she'd get bored with me after trying me once or twice. I mean, not that that was my main reason for rejecting the impulse. No, I would just observe the curve and let the image burn into the back of my eyeballs, so I could try to argue Angie into this position during our next love-making session sometime around the end of this coming fiscal quarter. Suzanne flipped her head up through the rack of jerseys and yelled, "Shit!" I took a step back. "I almost forgot. What are you doing Thursday night?" She stood with her hands on her hips, and her hips cocked. Why? Terry wanted to know if you'd be interested in joining the capitalist swine. I think I'm already there. I folded the ladder and started between the racks with it. What do you mean, the Chamber of Commerce or something? Cat! No, it's what Terry and a couple of his friends call it when they play Bloody Monopoly. Suzanne followed me into the back room with the extra clothes hangers. Instead of playing poker every week, they play Monopoly for real money, like $20 a session or something like that. They're looking for an extra player, and I suggested you. I don't know, might be interesting. Who's Terry? You know, from the bookstore. She got a customer just then. I wondered if it would constitute dangerous behavior to hang out with the friends of someone who looked so good. It didn't sound fascinating, so I hoped Suzanne would forget about it. That's good. Thank you, and like I said, check out the description below. You can do a search for Grand Theft Boblo, and you'll probably find the other videos for this. One of your links on Google or somewhere, you should be able to find a way to buy it from, let's see, you can buy the paperback on Lulu.com, and Amazon, I think you can buy the Kindle download of it. I think Smashwords, I got it all over the place, I can't even remember. I'll try to give links to it below, though. So you might want to buy it. See, it looks like this. I don't know why I'm filming this on the Nexus 7, and it looks backwards to me. I hope it shows up right for you, but I don't know. And I thank you for your time.